You're listening to Systemic Error Podcast. The failure was designed.
White House advisors in trouble as Trump risks looking like a loser based on an article by Adam Lynch. Trump's endorsement problem is not a problem. It's the point. The setup. The source piece is about Trump's massive grip on a South Carolina Republican Senate race. He first backed one candidate, then faced open defiance from other Republicans who kept running anyway, forcing the race into a loyalty contest inside the party's own machinery. The reporting frames this as Trump risking embarrassment. That is too polite. What it actually shows is a political order built around submission, where the fight is not over policy or governance but over who can most convincingly perform obedience. Trump is the institution. The real institutional power here is not the candidates. It is Trump's endorsement itself, which functions like a private patronage system inside the Republican Party. The article makes that plain. Contenders do not just seek votes. They seek permission. That is the power structure. Trump picks winners, and everyone else rearranges themselves around his mood. When he changes his mind, the race changes. That is not ordinary influence. It is a loyalty regime. The candidates are selling deference. The story's cast is a parade of elected Republicans competing to prove they are the most mager, even when that means humiliating the person who endorsed them. That is the whole sickness. These are not independent office seekers with distinct constituencies. They are men and women advertising their capacity to flatter the boss while undercutting one another. The most revealing detail is not that some Republicans kept running after Trump backed a rival. It is that this is treated as newsworthy rebellion. In a healthy party, candidates would compete on record, coalition, and judgment. Here, the central question is who can survive Trump's blessing without looking disloyal to Trump's blessing. That is a machine built for corruption of character before it ever reaches policy. The misdirection is the story. The article leans on Trump's irritation and his advisors' embarrassment as if the scandal is bad messaging or poor strategic discipline. It is not. The scandal is that a major party has reorganized itself around one man's endorsement theater while calling it politics. That framing also papers over agency. Nobody forced these Republicans to treat Trump's approval as the only meaningful credential. They made that bargain. They enabled it. Repeatedly. Because it gave them access to power without requiring them to justify anything substantive to voters. The result is a party that has replaced governance with submission tests and then acts shocked when the tests become unstable. South Carolina as a warning label. South Carolina is not a quirky local primary. It is a demonstration of how authoritarian politics degrades institutions from the inside. Once loyalty becomes the measure of legitimacy, elections stop filtering for competence and start filtering for obedience. The strongest candidates are not the most capable. They are the most servile until they are not servile enough, at which point the whole system starts eating itself. That is why Trump's endorsement failures matter. They do not weaken the authoritarian model. They expose how brittle it is. A system that depends on one man's grudges, whims, and public mood swings cannot produce stable leadership. It can only produce panicked intermediaries and desperate climbers. The larger pattern. This is what happens when a party chooses personalization over institution and coercive loyalty over democratic accountability. The candidates in this story are not resisting Trump in any serious sense. They are competing for the right to inherit his mechanism. That is the rot. It spreads because too many Republicans have decided that proximity to power matters more than the structure of power itself. The lesson is not that Trump is bad at endorsements. The lesson is that the Republican Party has made itself governable only through a fragile cult of permission, and that cult punishes independence, rewards flattery, and confuses domination for leadership. That is not a strategy. It is decay with ballots attached. You've been listening to Systemic Error. Thanks to Alternet for today's article. With the automated voice of John, thanks for listening.